like the Forest Farm Facility to ensure that the countries where our programs are being implemented have producer groups or producer associations that are functioning well. But to function well, it means that those producer associations must have a certain level of capacity, both in terms of technical know-how as well as the policy area, and in terms of also organizational development. So one of my key focuses would be that these organizations are developed as organizations with the appropriate capacity to manage themselves in the future. In other words, their dependence on support from elsewhere will be declining with time based on their ability to grow as organizations and also to be able to manage affairs and resources from themselves. And this means a very strong investment in organizational development and organizational capacity. Those two things are crucial for the actual forestry programs to be implemented. Improving livelihoods is fundamental to the forest farm facility. Now, none of the other benefits can be achieved if the livelihoods of the people are not improved. And the way to do this is to ensure that we are, first of all, engaging in those priority areas which the organizations themselves want or are already active in, and building upon that as a platform for the forestry and other aspects. In other words, you can only reinforce what they consider to be priorities and they already are doing before you can achieve a higher level of performance. And therefore, we know that all the communities involved, all the organizations involved, consider food as a priority. So entering the area from the perspective of food security, environmental security, and fiber security, for example, or energy security, these are areas which are very crucial for these people. So, and also it introduces the aspect of intersectoral considerations. So you're talking about food here, you're talking about energy, you're talking about water, you're talking about environment. You are bringing together components of livelihoods that make a difference to these societies. And not only you can go to higher and higher levels of productivity in relation to trees and forests. So I think the issue of livelihood really takes a center stage as an entry point and as a growing point for any of the forest farm facility. The policy dialogue is a very interesting one because the situation in the different countries is quite different. And the political environment generated by different policies within the countries does create different conditions for each. It would be very interesting to see to what extent a certain political setting actually helps the development or the participation of these producer organizations at different levels of policy development and policy making. In my view, policy development is very contextualized in the specific countries, and one has then to engage the political class in those countries at different scales to ensure that they have a good understanding of the intentions of all those organizations and exactly why they want political space and for what and how that political space is used. Yeah, that way we kind of bring a synergy between what is understood in a specific country as a policy and what is being implemented internationally and at the local level. So those organizations, producer organizations, are then better able to connect to their own environment first. And I'm talking like this because there are a lot of international processes that lead to certain policy decisions, but which can sometimes not synergize well with specific national approaches. So some of the international organizations may be discussing policy issues that do not actually, at that material time, fit in a particular setting in a country. So before they can connect to their own policy environment, they cannot connect to international environment. Nonetheless, the educational part of it is very important, that they can see who else is doing what, where, and how they achieve results in policy. So policy dialogue is very important, but must be taken carefully and sensitively, bringing to bear the meaning of policy participation as in the local environment. Yes, I wouldn't say one key point would make a difference in all countries as such, but from the perspective of an international effort like the Forest Farm Facility, we could look at specific institutional innovations that reinforce their sustainability. And in this context, we could look at, I give an example of a learning system where we could possibly have farmers, forest farmers and crop farmers learning together across sectors. And what are those things, for example, that bring cross-sectoral linkages? What makes a farmer appreciate the issues of energy, the issues of water, the issues of environment, the issues of productivity, profitability, business, and so on? So what I see is people will take on anything that reinforces profitability. So if the focus is that the farmers are making a profit, they really are making a profit, there is a driving force. So you move away from the position of pushing innovations to one of pulling innovations, because when they can see the benefit, they will work for it much more easily. There are so many beautiful things about trees and environment, biodiversity, etc., that may be attractive. But unless there is a puller, something that pulls them, that they will make stronger, better livelihoods, they'll make profits, they probably will not move very fast. So one of the challenges in forestry is the time it takes to begin making profit. So an element of profitability of what we are doing is essential as a driving force for people to adopt faster and move faster in the transformations that we want to make. So it may not be very easy, but we must make the business aspect, the enterprising aspect, a strong element of our intervention. So to me, while in some quarters it may sound a little bit like a private business approach, to me it is a very strong incentive for transformation of the mindset, for transformation of the attitude towards a stronger action in a desired area.